This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, keeping you informed about the happenings in Annapolis and the area. Local news, local sports, local events, local opinion, and of course, local weather. The Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief starts now.
Good morning. It's Monday, June 17th, 2019. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. On Thursday night, a 16-year-old was critically injured over in Broadneck after he fell from a skateboard without a helmet. At about 10 minutes to 8, the Anne Arundel County Fire Department responded to a 911 call for the injured child near the intersection of Bay Green and Caddy Drives in the Bay Hills section of Arnold. His injuries were so severe that a Maryland State Police helicopter was called in to transport him to the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center in Baltimore, where he still remains in critical condition. On Saturday evening at about 5 p.m., a Maryland State Police helicopter also responded to Annapolis after the Annapolis Fire Department was called to a single vehicle accident at the corner of Forest Drive and Forest Hills Avenue. A single pickup truck had somehow crashed into the woods at the intersection, trapping 3 men. 2 of the men were able to get out of the vehicle prior to the arrival of the fire department. The third one, who was the driver, had to be extricated from the wreckage. He was flown to the R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center in Baltimore in critical condition, and the 2 others were transported by ground to local trauma facilities with serious but not life-threatening conditions. Out on the water, Anne Arundel County Fire and the Coast Guard crews rescued 4 people from a boat in Herring Bay that was taking on water Friday night late. According to the Coast Guard, they received a cell phone call from someone stating that the boat was in distress. 2 response boats out of Coast Guard Station in Annapolis responded, and once on the scene, they brought the crew members aboard the boat, helped pump out the boat, and towed the vessel to Harrington Harbor North Marina. It's not often that I can say city government is trying to make your life a little bit easier, but hey, I've got one of those stories for you today. In the hopes of helping the residents make it easier to get rid of yard waste, Annapolis city officials have decided that all trash and yard waste collections will be collected on the same day. Right now, my trash comes in on a Friday, my yard waste goes in on a Wednesday, but now it's all on the same day as your normal trash and recycling. This does go into effect on July 1st, so if you do have any yard waste, put it out on your regularly scheduled trash day. Makes it a lot easier. And do remember, they did change the way you have to dispose of your yard waste. It does need to be bundled into either paper bags, tied up, or put in a container that is marked with an X. They no longer accept yard waste in plastic bags with the X's on it as they had in the past. Do you know what a unicorn fart tastes like? Well, you might have your chance now. Dewclaw Brewing Company and Diablo Donuts, in conjunction with Buck Distributing and Annapolis Pride, have redistributed a special limited run of the Sour Me Unicorn Farts in support of the inaugural Annapolis Pride Month and the Annapolis Pride Festival and Parade, which will be on June 29th. They say that the beer is a Fruity Pebbles sour that contains edible glitter. It's medium-bodied, tart, sweet, 5.5% alcohol, and features fruit additions that give a nod to the nostalgic fruity cereal. The label does don the Annapolis Pride logo as well. Cans have hit the shelves. You can get them at your favorite local liquor store, and most bars will be tapping kegs of it on June 29th, the actual date of the Pride Parade and Festival. So go on out and get you some Sour Me Unicorn Farts and show your pride. A little bit later on today, from noon till 2 p.m. at the Lighthouse Homeless Prevention Support Center at 10 Hudson Street, they're doing a great thing. They are offering a free community market thanks to an 8,000-pound donation of perishable and non-perishable foods from the Maryland Food Bank. This event's going to provide much-needed food and other household items to our neighbors who are struggling to meet their basic needs. The event is open to the public and free to anybody in our community who is in need. It is on a first-come, first-served basis, and the Lighthouse is asking anybody that comes to bring their own bags and boxes to carry away any of the food and household items that will be available. This does come on the heels of recent data from the United Way as well as the Community Foundation of Anne Arundel County, who found that 1/3 of our neighbors can't afford adequate food, rent, or health care, and that over 74,000 county residents struggle to access fresh, healthy, and affordable food. So good job on the Lighthouse Shelter today, noon to 2 p.m. All right, that is about it for the top news today. Please make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net throughout the day because we do update it throughout the day. You never know what's coming down the line. If you are someplace you can leave us a rating or a review, please do that as well. It helps us, and give us a recommendation to your friends and colleagues. Other than that, hang tight. We've got George Young with your local DMV weather forecast. He's coming up in just 1 minute. But hey, check it out from the Conduit Street Podcast.
Hi, this is Kevin Canale,
Michael Sanderson,
the host of the Maryland Association of Counties official podcast, the Conduit Street Podcast.
We like to talk Maryland policy and Maryland politics. That's what we're all about.
Why counties? Well, look at the stuff we do. Education, public safety, environment, taxes, all the areas that people care about. Counties care about that too.
So our podcast is for counties, but it's also for anyone out there who's interested in talking about public policy.
Absolutely. We did a whole episode on Uber and Airbnb and new disruptive technologies.
Right. We've been covering school funding debate, probably in more depth than anybody else out there. We've talked about President Trump's tax reform, redistricting lawsuits, cleaning up the Chesapeake Bay, all that kind of stuff. It's part of our beat. Why do we call it Conduit Street? Well, that's where we are. That's who we are. You Annapolitans on this podcast, you know it as that street right over there by Chicken Ruth's. Now, that's an Annapolis institution. We want to be too. That's our headquarters, and it's sort of our brand.
You can listen to the Conduit Street podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Catch us on Fridays and get a roundup of policy and politics from right here in Annapolis and around Maryland.
Going out? You need the most up-to-date local weather. Here's George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis with today's forecast.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Monday, June 17th. After another great weather weekend across the Annapolis region, we'll see a return of another annoying stalled frontal boundary in the skies above from west to east, which will equate to an unsettled period today through Thursday or so, with a very elevated daily chance of rain with the overall potential of 3+ inches of rain for many over the 4-day period. Look for temps in the mid to upper 80s each day, but with a better outlook from Friday into the weekend as that stalled frontal boundary will finally clear the area and will lead to sunshine and temps in the low to mid 80s Friday through the weekend. So keep the umbrellas handy and let's get through the first 3 or 4 days of the week before what should be another great weekend ahead. Okay, that's it for today. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Make it a great day out there. Be sure to get our free app on all of your devices by searching for DCMDVA Weather in the Apple or Google App Stores. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and on our website at dmvweather.com so you can always stay weather informed.
Fort George G. Meade invites you to celebrate America's independence at the annual Red, White, and Blue celebration Friday, June 28th. Festivities start at 4 o'clock on McLaughlin Parade Field. Enjoy live music throughout the day, dozens of food and drink choices, kids' rides and inflatables, and of course, a spectacular fireworks display at 9:30 p.m. Entrance is free and open to the public. For more, go to me.rmwr.com.
You've been listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Tell your friends and colleagues this is the podcast where you can keep up on the latest with what's going on in Annapolis. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find even more information. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., keeping you informed with the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. And take a moment to listen to our other podcast, The Maryland Crabs, released every Thursday at noon.